What should effective intervention classes designed to provide extra support for students look like? I'm Larry Ferlazzo, and I'd like to share one thing we did at our school. This idea of these effective support classes is getting a lot of attention these days. Education Consultants TNTP recently came out with a study that identified it as one of the critical components of successful schools that they studied. An effective support class that we did at our school targeted long-term English language learner students. These are students who have been designated as long-term ELLs for 6 years or more. We randomly chose 20 students for the class and then another 20 as a control group. They functioned as a cohort. So the 20 students in the class which I taught went to each content class together. And there were an additional 35 students in each of the other classes that were mixed. And the key element was that every week, the teachers of those content classes would email me just a handful of sentences. First, they'd list what they planned to cover the following week, and then they would list information or concepts that would be important for students to have as prior knowledge going into the class. Then I would just teach simple, relatively engaging lessons. If I didn't know the content, like related to math, I'd show some brain pop movies, and we'd do some of those related activities. Students loved the class, and it had better attendance, students had better GPA, and better gains on the statewide English test than the students in the control group. I think one of the keys to the success was that one of the challenges the students had before in earlier grades was that other students in their classes knew more than they did. But now the tables are turned. Basically, in most of the classes, after having a week of lessons on the prior knowledge they needed to know, they tended to know more than the other students in the classes. So it really built their self-confidence. And in fact, half the class ended up entering the International Baccalaureate program at our school the next year. The author of a recent article in the education site 74 said the key to making these kinds of intervention classes successful was having students take a lot more assessments. I beg to differ. I think the key is making these classes engaging and making them relevant. What do you think?